Could a single Jedi survive against the galaxy's most brutal warriors? Today we're putting lightsabers against bolter rounds in the ultimate sci-fi showdown. We're analyzing 7 different Space Marine factions from Warhammer 40k, each with their own deadly specializations, and calculating the exact survival odds for both Jedi Knights and Masters. From the tactical brilliance of Ultramarines to the plague-ridden Death Guard, we'll break down the physics, psychology, and combat variables that determine who walks away. You'll get hard percentages based on real science, not just fanboy speculation. Before we dive into the numbers, which faction do you think a Jedi Master has the lowest chance against? Drop your prediction in the comments right now. Let's dive into the bloodiest hypothetical battle in science fiction. Let's start with the poster boys of the Imperium, the Ultramarines. These blue-armored tacticians follow the Codex Astartes like scripture, turning warfare into mathematical precision. Every movement, every formation, every firing pattern follows predetermined strategies refined over 10,000 years. Here's where Jedi precognition becomes devastating. The Codex's strength, its predictable excellence, becomes a fatal weakness against Force users. When your enemy can sense your next 3 tactical decisions before you make them, rigid doctrine becomes a death sentence. Ultramarines excel at coordinated squad tactics, but most engagements assume a single Jedi facing multiple opponents. A Jedi Knight's survival odds against Marines sit at roughly 45%. They can exploit the predictable nature of Codex warfare, using Force speed to close distance before coordinated bolter fire becomes overwhelming. However, Knights lack the experience to handle prolonged engagements against multiple Astartes simultaneously. Jedi Masters bump those odds up to 70%. Decades of combat experience let them turn Ultramarine tactical doctrine against itself. Masters can use advanced Force techniques, like battle meditation, to maintain perfect focus while deflecting incoming fire, then strike with surgical precision at formation weak points. The Ultramarines' greatest strength becomes their most exploitable flaw. Now let's talk about walking biological warfare. The Death Guard. These plague Marines represent everything disgusting about chaos corruption. Their bodies host diseases that kill normal humans instantly. Their armor weeps toxic fluids, and they shrug off damage that would cripple other Space Marines. Death Guard present a unique problem. They're essentially immune to conventional damage. Bolter wounds heal within minutes, severed limbs regrow, and their pain receptors barely function. Even lightsaber strikes that would instantly kill normal Astartes might only slow down a plague Marine. We're talking about warriors who continue fighting after losing half their torso. But here's the physics advantage Jedi possess. Lightsabers don't just cut, they cauterize. That plasma blade burns at temperatures hot enough to instantly sterilize wounds and destroy the demonic parasites that keep Death Guard functioning. Jedi Knights face brutal 25% survival odds against Death Guard. The combination of toxic atmosphere, regenerating enemies, and close quarters combat favors the Plague Marines heavily. Knights simply lack the sustained power output needed to permanently disable these walking disease factories. Masters fare better at 40% survival, primarily through superior tactical awareness. They can use Force barriers to maintain breathable atmosphere while employing hit-and-run tactics that exploit Death Guard's notorious sluggishness. Masters also possess advanced lightsaber techniques that maximize cauterization damage, preventing the rapid regeneration that makes these enemies so dangerous. The Death Guard's regeneration is a nightmare. If a Jedi couldn't use their lightsaber, what Force power, even a deep cut from Legends, would be the only way to permanently stop a Plague Marine? Finally, we have the Space Wolves, the Emperor's executioners. These aren't your typical disciplined Astartes. Space Wolves embrace their inner beast, fighting with primal fury that makes them unpredictable and terrifyingly effective in close combat. Their enhanced senses rival those of actual wolves, and their pack tactics evolved from hunting the deadliest predators on Fenris. Space Wolves present a fascinating matchup because they're essentially anti-Jedi in philosophy. Where Jedi seek calm and control, Space Wolves embrace rage and instinct. Their berserker charges seem reckless, but follow pack hunting patterns refined over millennia. They coordinate like wolves, bringing down prey, surrounding, isolating, then overwhelming with savage teamwork. Jedi Knights achieve 35% survival odds against Space Wolves. The unpredictable nature of Fenrisian combat doctrine makes precognition less reliable, while their enhanced senses partially negate typical Jedi stealth advantages. However, Force speed still provides crucial mobility advantages in close combat. Masters reach 55% survival by adapting their fighting style to match Space Wolf aggression. Experienced Jedi can channel controlled fury through the Force, matching Berserker intensity while maintaining tactical awareness. The key becomes surviving the initial pack assault long enough to thin their numbers through superior individual combat. So, 70% survival for a Master against the Ultramarines. Does that number feel right to you? Or is the Codex Astartes more exploitable than we think? The Black Templars represent everything fanatical about Imperial zealotry. These crusading warriors have spent 10,000 years purging heretics, Xenos, and anyone who dares to question the Emperor's will. What makes them particularly dangerous against Jedi is their absolute hatred of psychers. They view any psychic ability as corruption that must be burned out with righteous fury. Black Templars don't just fight with weapons, they fight with pure, concentrated faith. Their battle cries invoke the Emperor's protection, while their chaplains whip entire squads into religious frenzy. This creates a psychological battlefield where calm Jedi philosophy clashes directly with screaming zealotry. Imagine trying to maintain Force concentration while facing warriors who literally believe they're doing God's work by killing you. Their combat doctrine emphasizes aggressive close-quarters assault. Black Templars excel at turning any engagement into a brutal melee, where their superior strength and armor provide maximum advantage. They use shock tactics, drop-pod assaults, and coordinated charges designed to overwhelm enemies before they can establish defensive positions. Jedi Knights face 30% survival odds against Black Templars. The combination of anti-psyker hatred, aggressive tactics, and religious fervor creates an environment where typical Jedi advantages become liabilities. Knights struggle against enemies who view their Force powers as literal damnation, requiring immediate purification through violence. Masters achieve 45% survival by treating the engagement like fighting religious extremists rather than soldiers. Experienced Jedi can use the Templar zealotry against them, exploiting their tendency to charge headlong into obviously dangerous situations. Masters also possess the emotional control needed to maintain Force focus despite constant screaming about heresy and damnation. Now we encounter something truly terrifying: the Grey Knights. These aren't just Space Marines, they're the Imperium's premium demon hunters, genetically modified specifically to resist psychic attacks. Every Grey Knight possesses psychic abilities themselves, making them essentially anti-Jedi specialists. Grey Knights wear Terminator armor inscribed with protective wards that actively disrupt psychic phenomena. Their Force weapons channel psychic energy into devastating attacks that can cut through both physical and spiritual defenses. When a Grey Knight swings his Nemesis Force sword, he's not just attacking your body, he's attacking your connection to the Force itself. Their training involves constant exposure to demonic corruption, building mental fortresses that make Space Marine conditioning look like meditation practice. These warriors routinely face entities that can drive normal humans insane with a glance, then return to base for tactical debriefing like it's another day at the office. The real nightmare scenario involves their psychic abilities combining with their anti-psychic training. Grey Knights can sense Force users from incredible distances while simultaneously resisting Force-based attacks. It's like fighting an enemy who has radar specifically tuned to detect you while wearing armor that makes your weapons less effective. Jedi Knights drop to just 15% survival odds against Grey Knights. The combination of psychic resistance, Force weapons, and specialized anti-demon training creates nearly impossible odds. Knights simply lack the advanced Force techniques needed to overcome such comprehensive psychic defenses. Even Masters only reach 25% survival, and that's primarily through avoiding direct confrontation. Masters might survive by using environmental advantages, hit-and-run tactics, or exploiting the Grey Knight's tendency to hunt alone when tracking specific psychic threats. Finally, we have the Blood Angels, the most tragic of Space Marine chapters. These Crimson Warriors carry a genetic curse that makes them simultaneously beautiful and terrifying. The Red Thirst drives them toward vampiric bloodlust, while the Black Rage can transform disciplined soldiers into screaming berserkers who believe they're fighting alongside their dead Primarch. Blood Angels possess enhanced speed that rivals Force-enhanced reflexes. Their jump pack assaults can close impossible distances in seconds, while their close combat prowess makes them deadly even by Astartes standards. When the Red Thirst takes hold, they become something between Space Marine and Apex Predator. Jedi Knights achieve 40% survival against Blood Angels, primarily because their enhanced speed partially negates typical Astartes advantages. However, Dealing with enemies who grow stronger as they taste blood creates escalating danger throughout any prolonged engagement. Masters reach 60% survival by understanding the psychological warfare involved. Experienced Jedi can use Force Calm to potentially suppress the Red Thirst, turning the Blood Angel's greatest strength into a manageable weakness while exploiting their enhanced speed for tactical advantages. Our final faction represents the most inhuman Space Marines in existence, the Iron Hands. These warriors follow the philosophy that the flesh is weak, systematically replacing their organic parts with cybernetic enhancements. By the time an Iron Hand reaches veteran status, they're more machine than man, with mechanical limbs, optical implants, and neural processors that eliminate emotional responses. Iron Hands present a unique challenge because they've deliberately removed many traits that make them vulnerable to Force manipulation. Their cybernetic components don't feel pain, fear, or doubt. Mechanical limbs don't tire or falter under pressure. Neural implants process tactical data with computer-like precision, making them nearly impossible to surprise or outmaneuver through conventional means. The real problem lies in their approach to warfare. Iron Hands treat combat like engineering problems requiring optimal solutions. They calculate firing angles, ammunition expenditure, and casualty ratios with mechanical precision. Their enhanced reflexes come from servo motors and targeting systems rather than biological enhancement, making their reactions predictable but devastatingly accurate. However, their greatest strength becomes their critical weakness against Force users. Cybernetic components can be overloaded through electromagnetic manipulation, a technique advanced Jedi can achieve through focused Force lightning or telekinetic interference with mechanical systems. Imagine shorting out an enemy's targeting computer mid-combat or jamming their servo motors during crucial moments. The philosophical divide also matters. Iron Hands view organic life as inherently flawed, making them psychologically unprepared for enemies who embrace their biological nature. They expect logical, predictable responses based on tactical doctrine. Jedi who fight with intuition and emotional balance represent everything their worldview rejects. Jedi Knights face 20% survival odds against Iron Hands. The combination of mechanical precision, enhanced durability, and emotionless tactical thinking creates nearly insurmountable challenges for less experienced Force users. Knights struggle against enemies who don't respond to intimidation, pain, or psychological pressure. Masters achieve 35% survival, primarily through their understanding of technology and machinery. Experienced Jedi can exploit the Iron Hand's reliance on cybernetics, using advanced Force techniques to disrupt mechanical systems while maintaining distance from their devastating firepower. The numbers tell a brutal story. Even Jedi Masters struggle against most Space Marine factions, with survival odds ranging from a dismal 25% against Grey Knights to a respectable 70% against Ultramarines. The deciding factors aren't about who hits harder, they're about adaptability versus specialization. Space Marines excel at what they're designed for, but that specialization creates predictable patterns. Jedi succeed by being unpredictable, using the Force to turn physics and psychology into weapons that no amount of armor or genetic enhancement can fully counter. The ultimate lesson? In any conflict between enhanced warriors and Force users, victory goes to whoever can adapt fastest to changing conditions. Raw power means nothing if you can't hit your target, and the best armor in the galaxy won't save you from an enemy who can predict your next move. What do you think? Could a Jedi Master take on an entire squad of your favorite Space Marine faction? Drop your thoughts in the comments and subscribe for more sci-fi combat breakdowns that put your favorite characters through the scientific grinder.